Isang masayang pagbati na may ngiti sa aking mga labi. Naghahanap ba kayo ng makakatuwang sa pag-review ng inyong anak? Meron yan sa DepEd. Ang ETUlay online tutorial ay libre at handog ng ating kagawaran sa pangunguna ng OUA ICTS EdTech. Ito ay isang proyektong makatutulong sa mga mag-aaral, katuwang ang mga magulang o kasama sa kani-kanilang tahanan para masagutan at maunawaan ang mga modules. Hangad din ng programang ETUlay ang matulungan ang ating mga guro sa kanilang mga blended learning classes. Ang ating ETUlay ay mula kinder hanggang senior high school. Bukod sa academics, meron din tayong mga special programs gaya ng All is Wellness, Reading and Math Remediation, Storytelling, Mommy Tech Talks, Classes sa Gramatika, Speech Class, Financial Literacy, at marami pang iba. Pinalawig din ng ETUlay ang ating Alive program para sa mga mag-aaral mula grade 1 hanggang grade 3. Gayun din ay mayroon tayong ALS program at SPED tutorials na makasisigurong makakamit ng lahat ang inclusive education. May SPED hotline na rin para sa inyong mga katanungan patungkol sa special education. Kaya, subaybayan mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, mula 9:00 ng umaga hanggang 7:00 ng gabi ang ating ETUlay. Sa ating pagtutulungan, maiaangat natin ang bawat isa. Ating itutulay ang pagkatuto upang di mapigil ang pag-aaral ng kabataang Pilipino. Itulay natin ito, sulong edukalidad.
Mabuhay! Good day to all! I am your tutor Madge. Welcome to ETUlay, a free online tutorial, an initiative of the Department of Education, Information and Communications Technology Service, Educational Technology Unit, ICTS EdTech. This program is aimed at helping and assisting learners from kindergarten, senior high school, ALS, Alive, and SPED learners. Aside from answering the modules, the ETUlay is offering programs which you will surely look forward to. Together with our parents and teachers, the ETUlay will bridge the gaps where difficulty and ease meet in learning new knowledge and skills. So, let us prepare our modules, pen and paper. Ready your mind to see and hear worthwhile and interesting lessons. Let us now study and learn, together with our volunteer online tutors. Tara na!
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am. Kamusta kayong
Good
lahat?
morning.
Good morning, everyone. Kamusta ang ating mga ETUlay sa mga oras na to? Naway po
Yes,
nasa mabuti
good
po
morning,
kayong kalagayan. Ayan. Tutor Carol, kamusta po ang bakasyon natin?
Okay naman. Okay na okay. At least kahit papaano naka-recharge tayo, no? Teachers.
Opo, yun. Yes po, yan po yung talagang hinaantay natin. At I hope din po, ganun din po ang ating mga learners po sa mga oras na to. Ang ating mga tuties na talaga naman po palagi po palagi natin kasama tuwing Friday. Kaya po maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat dahil po dyan, nagiging inspired po kami ni Tutor Carol maging mas i-deliver po ang Fundamentals of Accountancy, Business and Management 1 ng may kahusayan at mas masaya. Okay? Mag-e-enjoy tayo ngayong araw na to, Tutor Carol, kasi ang ganda ng ating topic for today. Okay?
Yes,
Pero bago yan, mag-shout out muna tayo, Tutor Carol.
Okay, madami-dami na tayong mga viewers, no? At syempre, nandito ang ating loyal viewers, si Vince Panganiban. Okay?
Hello, good morning.
So, nandyan din si Jenny Divina, Angelica Marantal, Chanel Sapader, okay, Rubelin Pelayo, okay, Jacqueline Labuca, Samantha Dison, Rian, Colleen, ang dami na nila, Tutor
Yes po,
Carmi.
napakadami.
Okay.
Nagpapasalamat po kami sa inyo dahil po, kung wala po kayo, alam ko po na hindi talaga magiging matagumpay to. Kaya po, dahil dun sa mga bata, Tutor Carol, na gusto talagang matuto, kaya tayo matagumpay. Ayan. Maraming
Yes.
salamat po ulit sa inyo. Okay, so Tutor Carol, without further ado, let's have now um, our topic for today. So, I guess are already quarter 4 na, Tutor Carol. Konting-konti na
Quarter 4, week 1.
lang.
Konti na
Yes.
lang.
Yes po. At
And
sila'y magbabakasyon na.
our topic
Yes.
for this week is about adjusting entries, no? And ang daming bata na nagsasabi, ito yung pinaka
Mahirap.
mahirap na part, okay,
Yes.
ng ating accounting 1. Okay?
Yes.
Pero madali lang yan kung talagang iintindihin natin.
Yes po.
Okay?
Okay, sige po. So, for today's objective, we are going to prepare an adjusting entries po. So, yun po ang pinaka-objective natin for today. Kailangan makapag-prepare tayo ng adjusting entries at ano nga ba itong adjusting entries na to? Bakit tayo gumagawa o bakit kailangan pa nagkaroon na nga tayo ng journal entries tapos mag-adjusting entries pa. So, let's have now first review yung mga steps in accounting po, di ba, Tutor Carol, last time. Ano ba yon para magkaroon lang tayo ng konting recall at makita natin po kung ano yung nasa na ba tayo sa process of ng accounting. So, nag-identify tayo at nag-analyzing. Okay? So, we're done with that. Tapos po, Tutor Carol, ginawa pa nating pangalawa.
Journalizing. Okay, so
Yes,
after
opo.
analyzing, no, we will record now the transactions in the book called journal. And
Okay,
then,
pagkatapos po ng journalizing,
posting.
we will going to post po yung ating journal doon po sa ating ledger. So that is posting. And then last week po, before the Holy Week, we do the unadjusted trial balance. And for today, we are going to do the adjusting entries. Ayan.
Okay. Okay, adjusting entries. Mahirap talaga pag nasa corridor ka.
Opo, may konting ingay. Pero okay lang yan. That's the spirit, yung talagang laban lang, ma'am.
Laban
Okay.
lang.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here we're going to review our past lesson. So the transaction, okay, journalize and post to the ledger the following business transaction. So first we will analyze and then journalize this transaction, and the transaction is this on December 1. Okay, the owner, of course, the owner invested 100,000 to start the business. So let us analyze the transaction. What is the effect of this transaction to our accounting equation? And after that, we will journalize. Okay, so we will record na, okay, the effect in the general journal. Okay, so
Sige,
who
pwede
wants
po
to answer?
try po ninyong gamitin po natin yung ating mga chat box for the
Yes, you
answer.
can.
Pwede po natin lagay na lang dyan, debit, kung ano mang answer, credit, ayan. Then yung explanation. Para po makita namin ni Tutor Carol kung ano na po kayo, you are equipped when it comes to journalizing transactions. Ayan. Sige, Tutor Carol, may nang sumagot na po ba?
Okay, wala pa akong nakikitang sagot, no? Delay na. Ayan, si Vince sumagot na. Kinumpleto na niya ang sagot actually. The date is December 1. Okay, and then meron siyang debit cash 100,000 and meron siyang credit capital 100,000. Okay, and
Wow.
of course meron din siyang explanation na to record the owner's investment. Okay?
Or initial investment for
Yes,
business.
okay.
Basta po
Very talaga si
naiintindihan.
Vince.
Very good, Vince. Okay,
Very
let's
good si
have.
Vince Panganiban. Okay, now, we will transfer now the information from the journal to the ledger. Okay, so we have first here, cash ledger. So this is the cash ledger. So copy-paste lang to. So paano natin yan gagawin? Anong date natin? Is it the date of the transaction or is it the date of the posting? Ano bang ilalagay natin dyan?
Yes.
Okay, so let's wait for a little while.
Ano, may mga nag-answer na? Ipo-post na po natin sa ledger ang ating transaction.
Yes, okay. Ang ano lang natin dito is Kung ano yung information na nakalagay sa general journal, yun lang ang ilalagay natin sa ledger. And this one,
Yes.
particularly cash. Okay, cash ledger. So ano bang information about cash na nakalagay doon? So date, okay, so ang date dyan, so let us reveal the answer now. Siguro tutor Carmi, no? So ang date
Okay.
is yes, December 1. Kung ano ang date na nakasulat and then explanation, dropping to record na, no? Kasi hindi na tayo recording, posting na tayo. Reference from General Journal, page 1. And then, kung saan nakalagay yung amount, sa debit ba or sa credit? So, kung sa debit nakalagay, ilagay din natin sa debit. And then, we'll just forward the balance of 100,000. Kasi, wala namang ibang information walang debit or walang credit. So, forward lang natin yung balance. Okay?
Yan. So once done with the posting, you have to put the reference po doon sa inyong general journal.
Yes. So, we'll go back nga pala sa reference column ng general journal. And ang
Next
ilalagay doon ay account number.
Okay, next
Okay,
naman, Tutor Carol, yung owner's equity, owner's capital po. Paano naman natin to same lang naman din po, di ba, Tutor Carol? Basta
Yes.
always look at the journal entry. If your journal entry is correct, then there is a possibility also, 100% possibility that your posting to the ledger is also correct. So again, December 1 yan, initial investment for business, and then, of course, General Journal, page 1. And then, kung saan nakalagay po yung owner's capital, if it is in debit, then put it in debit. Pero kung ito ay credit, syempre po sa credit. So, yan. Kung naka-credit po siya, then forward din po natin yung balance, 100,000. Then, ayun na po. Pasok na po natin yung account number.
To add
Sige
to
po.
that, no, Tutor Carmi, maging careful tayo sa pagta-transfer. Kung debit,
Yes,
dapat
po.
sa debit din sa ledger. Pag credit
Yes,
sa
po.
journal, dapat credit din sa ledger. Kasi hindi tayo magiging balance niyan in the end. At masakit sa ulo yon. We need to go
Yes.
back.
Opo.
Okay?
Then, next transaction tayo, Tutor Carol.
Okay, our next transaction is on December 2. Okay, acquired desktop computer in cash. Okay, 60,000 pesos. Okay, so let us analyze what is the effect of this transaction to the accounting equation, assets, liabilities, and equity. Okay, so of course, okay, so let me see. Okay, so, okay, let's wait a little while for the answer. You can comment down your answers. Okay, okay, so ang date niyan, Tutor Carmi, is of course the date of the transaction, which is December 2. Then what is the effect? Okay? What is added to your asset, particularly your office equipment? Okay, so meron siya amounting to, okay, debit 60,000 yan. Since nag-increase ang asset mo, particularly office equipment, so ilalagay natin yan sa debit side or debit column. And then our credit is, of course, cash. Okay? Amounting to 60,000. Credit yan kasi nabawasan ng cash mo. And our explanation is, okay, acquired office equipment or to record, okay, acquired office equipment.
Yan. So let us now put it na Tutor Carol sa ating post sa ledger. Ayan. Katulad po ng ginawa ni Tutor. Opo. Katulad ng ginawa ni Tutor Carol kanina po. Let's have December 2 for the date. And then we just have to copy po yung ating explanation. And then the reference po na nakalagay dito po ay yung ating general journal page 1. So then, of course, kung nakalagay po yan sa 60,000 sa debit, then lagay po natin dun sa ating ledger po na 60,000. Then forward na rin po natin ang ating balance. So pagkatapos po niyan, wag po ninyong kakalimutan na i-post din po sa reference po yung kanyang account number po. Ibig sabihin po na we're done with the posting to the ledger. Then next to Tutor Carol.
Okay, so next account is cash. So we will not make another ledger for cash. We will use the first ledger for cash. Okay, so as you can see, meron na tayong entry on December 1. So, ito naman ilalagay natin, December 2. Okay, December 2, explanation natin is acquired office equipment from General Journal, page 1. The information is from GJ1. Okay, and then sa nakalagay sa credit side. So, ilalagay din natin siya sa ledger sa credit side. And now, meron tayong debit at meron tayong credit. So, anong gagawin? We need to subtract that. So, 100,000 minus 60,000 and our ending balance or updated balance is 40,000 pesos. And of course, going back to your general journal, do not forget to put your reference, okay, which is 1-001, the account number of cash ledger. Okay?
Next tayo, Tutor Carol. So, as if po, meron na po
Okay.
tayong, we're done with the posting and journalizing of all the transactions. Then, we are now going to do the trial balance or the unadjusted trial balance, Tutor Carol. Sana po may makasagot nito para makita natin kung nag-retain ba sa kanilang mga isip kung paano ang gumawa ng unadjusted trial balance. Ayan. So, medyo
Okay.
madami lang to.
Yes, yung information lang dito is, ano siya, no, rumbled siya. Halo-halo
Yes.
yan. Hindi siya naka-arrange. Okay, so ang arrangement niyan, pag ita-transfer nyo na siya sa paggawa ng trial balance, arrangement niya is assets, okay, followed by liabilities. Equity, mauuna ang capital bago ang drawings, and then revenue, and then expenses. And of course, the normal balance. Okay? So what is the normal balance of assets? Okay?
Sumagot na ba, Tutor Carol, ng mga, kahit po siguro yung total na lang,
Yeah, total. Total. Pwede
kahit yung
siguro sa
total na lang,
total.
tapos papakita namin sa inyo paano kanyang pinaka-itsura kapag tayo yung nakapagawa na ng unadjusted trial balance.
Siguro delayed tayo, no?
So,
Kasi
kung delayed po
talagang-
tayo dapat advance tayo, Tutor. Okay.
Correct.
So, mag-advance tayo. Okay. So, let's now reveal the answer. This will be the answer po. Yan. So,
Ayan.
both debit and credit should have an amount of 51,800. Make sure that tama po ang pagkakasulat ng ating mga accounts. It should be chronologically arranged based on the liquidity, maturity. Ayan. Tapos po kailangan asset ang mauuna, liabilities, then owner's equity. Yun po yung sinabi din ni Tutor Carol a while ago. So 51,800 is the total amount for this exercises. Ayan. Sige po,
Yes.
Tutor Carol.
Oh, ayan.
Okay.
Tama si Vince Panganiban, no? 51,800.
Ay,
Thank you, Vince.
napakahusay talaga. Thank you, Vince.
Yes.
Ayan.
Okay.
Ayan, Tutor Carol, pag-usapan na natin itong adjusting entries. Alam niyo po, totoo po, no? Part of, sa pagka po kayo ay nagsisimula pa lang ng accounting talaga, isa sa pinaka medyo nakakalito ang adjusting entries. Opo, ayan. So, bakit ba tayo nag-adjusting entries, Tutor Carol? Bakit po kaya? Ano kayang reason?
Yes. Okay. So here, adjusting entries are journal entries. Nagawa na natin ng journal entries, no? So these are journal entries that update, okay, the general ledger accounts and ensure accuracy of information presented in the financial statement. So, ginagawa natin ng adjusting entry para ma-update at makapagbigay tayo ng accurate information sa ating mga financial statements. Okay?
Dagdag ko lang
Siyempre,
din, Tutor Carol, yung adjusting entries po, pag sila po ay auditor, yan po yung kanilang usual na gagawin. Nag-a-adjusting entries po sila palagi. Kaya yan po, pag natutunan po talaga nila, madaling-madali po sa kanila ang maging external or maging internal audit. Because adjusting entries is actually giving you a chance na maging correct yung information, lalo na yung pag-report po natin ng financial statement. Sige po.
okay.
Okay. Next po. Characteristic, Tutor Carol.
Okay, so these are the characteristics of the adjusting entries. First, each entry is recorded at the end of the accounting period. So we do adjusting entries, let's say December 31, at the end of the accounting period, usually on December 31. Second, each entry has at least one balance sheet account, either asset or liability, and at least one income statement account, either revenue or expense. And of course, the last one is cash account is never affected when doing the adjusting entry. Hindi po tayo nag-a-adjust ng cash. Ang cash po ay sa initial entry. Okay, yung sa journal entry natin. Okay, doon nagkakaroon ng cash account. And of course, Tutor Carmi.
Okay po. So ito po yung mga entries po, adjusting entries na usual po nating kailangan ayusin o kailangan i-check kasi po siguraduhin natin na na-account silang mabuti, na-recognize yung mga expenses po natin, yung mga advance payment po na naging expenses na, yung mga receivables na nakolekta na, yung mga utang na nabayaran na. Dapat ganun po talaga kasi para sigurado po tayo na maging accurate po, tamang-tama po yung ating financial statement na dahil po sa isang taon lang po kasi kailangan po maayos po talaga at tama yung ating i-report. So ano ba yung mga yon? We have the prepaid expenses. Okay, we have accrued expenses. So mamaya po i-explain naman yan ni Tutor. And earned revenue, we also have the accrued revenue. Okay, mga nakakalituto kasi mga nakapangalang revenue pero parang ang nature nila ay hindi po revenue. Ayan. Tapos yung prepaid expenses na akala natin expense pero yung pala asset siya. So
Asset.
depreciation and then bad debts. Ayan, yung mga may utang, malalaman na natin kung magbabayad ba sila o hindi magbabayad. Ayan. So let's have prepaid expenses, Ma'am Tutor Carol.
Okay, so the first adjusting entries is the prepaid expenses or prepayments to, no, sa ibang mga books. So prepaid expenses are expenses already paid by the company but not yet incurred or used. These are advance payment for an expense. So there are two methods, asset method and expense method. So prepaid expense, advance payment lang ito ni business, okay, sa kanyang mga future expenses. Okay, so let's study the first method, which is the asset method. Okay, so under this method, the advance payment is initially debited as an asset. So pagkabigay nila ng pera, hindi nila ini-expense agad. Kasi totoo naman na hindi pa naman kasi nagagamit. So pinapasok mo nila to as asset. So journal entry upon payment is debit, prepaid expense, and credit cash. Okay? So, paano namin nasabing debit, prepaid expense, and credit cash? Because of yung positioning. Okay? Ang cash ay nasa ilalim and indented. So, ano siya universal ba? Pag alam mo talaga yung standard ng accounting, madali mo siyang maiintindihan kahit isulat mo siya sa blankong papel na walang mga guhit. Okay? So that will be our journal entry upon payment. And at the end of the accounting period, okay, our adjusting entry will be, okay, debit expense and credit prepaid expense. Okay, the amount, okay, there's a note here. The amount in the adjusting entry represents the expired or used portion of the prepayment. So, ganito kasi yon. Initially, ipapasok mo sa asset. Siyempre, habang lumilipas yung mga araw, ginagamit mo yung mga, let's say, supplies. Okay, supplies, pagkabili mo, like yung small things like bond paper, okay, paper clips, ball pen, okay. Pagkabili mo niyan, ipapasok mo muna siya sa asset kasi hindi pa siya gamit. Okay, hindi pa gamit. Pero syempre, habang lumilipas yung oras, ginagamit mo yung mga bagay na yan, nauubos yan, okay? So, ilalagay na natin siya as expense. So, tatanggalin natin siya from the prepaid expense, okay, ledger, at ililipat natin siya, legit na this time, as expense. Okay? At ang amount na ilalagay natin sa adjusting entry is yung amount na expired or used. Okay, yun ang ilalagay nating amount dyan. Okay? And then, under naman sa ating expense method, the advance payment is initially debited as expense, even if it is not yet used up. Okay, so siguro naisip ni ni business, no, ay, anyway, mauubos din yan at eventually magiging expense yan. Idiretso na natin yan sa expense. So, journal entry upon payment is debit expense and credit cash. Okay? What if hindi naman siya maubos talaga at the end of the period? So, hindi mo siya pwedeng palagi na lang siyang ilagay sa expense kasi masyadong lalaki ang expense mo at liliit ang iyong income. So, kailangan mong mag-adjust. Ilipat mo yung mga hindi pa gamit sa prepaid expense. So, our adjusting entry at the end of the period, we have debit, prepaid expense, and credit expense. Okay? And there's a note here, the amount in the adjusting entry represents the unused portion of an expense. Okay? At the end of the period. So, ilalagay mong amount sa adjusting entry ay yung hindi pa gamit, hindi pa ubos. Ilalagay mo siya, papasok mo siya sa prepaid expense, tanggalin mo sa expense, okay, kasi asset pa siya ng business. Okay? So, next. So, here's our example here. So, give the adjusting entry, take note of the date, December 31, 2020. Okay, on July 31, okay, the business paid 49,200 amount of advance office rentals for 6 months. So, yung 49,200 ay for 6 months. Okay, so what will be our initial entry using the asset method? So, remember, asset method, initially debited as an asset. Okay? So, ipapasok natin siya sa asset. So, on July 31, we have debit, prepaid, rent. Okay, bakit naging rent na, ma'am? Kanina, expenses. Pag-aralan nyo kasi yung transaction. Okay? Ano ba yung ina-advance niya? Rent. So, pwede nating sabihin prepaid rent. Okay? 49,200. Okay? And our credit will be cash. Okay? 49,200 kasi totoo naman na naglabas ka ng cash. And our explanation will be, okay, to record 6 months rent payment or 6 months advance rent payment. Okay? And on December 31, adjusting entry na pala tayo. December 31. Okay. Ilan ang nagamit mo dyan sa prepaid rent mo? Ilang months? So, bilangin natin. July is not included anymore kasi July 31 yan. So, meron tayong August, September, October, November, and December. We have 5 months. 5 months. So, magkano ang 5 months na yan? Ay tatanggalin natin yan sa prepaid rent because legit na siyang expense. So, meron tayong debit rent expense, 41,000 pesos. Yes, and credit, prepaid rent, 41,000 pesos. And our explanation to record the expired rent. And here, to show you the computation, how we got 41,000 pesos. So, 49,200 divided by 6 months. So, that is 8,200 pesos monthly. Okay? So, from July 31, okay, to December, that's 5 months. Okay, so 8,200 times 5 months, that is 41,000 pesos, representing the expired rent. Okay? Next. Expense method naman. Same transaction, ha? But this time, expense method. Okay, so under expense method, we will initially debit the transaction as expense. Okay, so on July 31, we will have debit rent expense. Okay, 49,200. And our credit will be cash, of course, cash. 49,200. Explanation to record, okay, 6 months rent payment. And on December 31, our adjusting entry will be, hindi naman siya lahat na expense, right? Hindi siya lahat expense kasi may natira tayong 1 month. May 1 month na unused. Unused pa siya. So, yun ang ipapasok natin siya sa asset as prepaid rent, 8,200. And credit rent expense, 8,200. And our explanation will be to record expired rent. Okay? And to show you the computation, how we got 8,200. Okay, so total prepaid payment is 49,200 less monthly payment. Okay, times yung expired months, which is 41,000. O, ilan na lang natira? 8,200. Okay, very easy, di ba? Basta intindihin lang maigi. And then accrued expense, tutor, Carmi.
Okay. So, sa accrued expenses po tayo, when we say accrued, it means po, it's either payable or receivable. Yan. Medyo nalilito lang po yung mga tao pagka naririnig na yung salitang accrued, nagpapanik na sila. Pero actually, tignan lang po natin yung nature ng transaction, if it is a payable or receivable, yun lang naman po talaga yun. Accrued expense are expenses already incurred or used but not yet paid. So, ibig sabihin po, nagamit mo na pero hindi ka pa bayad. So, when we talk about accrued expenses, we are referring to the payable. So, what are the examples of this accrued expenses? We have, of course, the Meralco, yung mga bills natin sa bahay. Si Judith po ang expenses, ang accrued expenses. Si Judith po yon. So, para hindi kayo malito. So, ano ba yung ginagamit po nating adjusting entry at the end of the period? Of course, we have to, pag sinabi natin expenses po siya, so ang gagawin lang po natin ay i-debit na natin siya. Kasi that's the normal balance for all the expenses. And then we have to, dahil hindi pa siya bayan, wala pa pong cash. So, ibig sabihin, babayaran pa lang. So, i-credit po natin yan, so of course, sa accrued expense payable. So, ganun kadali. So, yan. So, kayang-kaya ng ating mga anak yan mag-tutor Carol. Okay, so let's have an example here. So, the instruction is give the adjusting entries on December 31, 2020. So, December 27, the cost of electricity used for the month of December 2020 is 4,000. Okay, yun nagamit niya. So, ibig sabihin, nagamit niya ng December yon, month of December. But, the electricity bill was received and paid in January 2021. So, how are you going to do the adjusting entries for this particular transactions? Siyempre po, do not forget, kailan po siya? Okay. Since po na ito ay incurred or it was used during on December 30, December, so yun pa rin po ang aaningin po natin. So ilalagay pa rin po natin na date. So December 31, kahit po binayaran na po natin yan, gagayaran natin ng January kasi ginamit naman natin yan ng December. So ayan. So utilities expense po, 4,000 pesos. And of course, dahil hindi pa nga po bayad, babayaran pa lang sa January 2021. So it is still considered as payable. So that is utilities payable. Okay, credit natin sa utilities payable kasi all kinds of liabilities is considered and also always recorded in the credit side. Tandaan po natin yon. And then to record, of course, the unpaid Meralco bill. Yan. Now, let's talk about naman po yung unearned revenue. So, sige po yung unearned.
Sige, you do the honor, Tutor Carmi.
Okay, sige po yung unearned revenue. Ito po, hindi po pag sinabi mo unearned revenue, diba, lagi po siyang, inisip natin, revenue yan. But not necessarily po ang nature niyan is revenue. It is an income na na-receive po natin in advance. Pero, not yet earned. Bakit? Kasi hindi pa tayo nakakapag-render ng service. Lagi yung sinasabi dito sa example ko na to, kunwari ikaw ay wedding coordinator, tapos ikakasal yung kliyente mo ng December. Pero dahil mayaman nga yung kliyente, nagbayad siya sa'yo ng advance. So, although the wedding will happen sa December, pero nagbayad siya sa'yo ng advance. So, you will consider the received payment as an earned revenue. So, advance collection of payment for an income from the customers. And of course, katulad po ng prepaid expense and of course, the prepaid expense, meron din po siyang method. So, we have the liability method and income method. Okay. Tutor Carol. Sige, so let's have now yung liability. Okay. Yung liability, medyo
liability method naman tayo, no, under unearned revenue. So a liability account is credited upon receipt of cash since the company is liable to provide service. Okay? So unearned revenue, sabi nga is, ano siya, di ba? Advance payment ni client. Parang wala ka pang pinagtatrabaho, tumatanggap ka na ng pera. So, under liability method, okay, ito ay ipapasok mo muna sa liability. Kasi totoo naman na may utang ka, di ba? Wala ka pang ginagawa, may pera ka nang tinatanggap. Okay, journal entry upon upon receipt of cash will be debit cash and credit unearned revenue. Unearned revenue is a liability account. Okay, kahit na revenue yan, no? Liability yan. Okay? Kasi nga, utang pa. And then, if services are rendered, adjusting entry will be debit unearned revenue and credit revenue. Legit na tong revenue. So, tatanggalin mo siya sa liability account na unearned revenue, kaya siya nasa debit, at ililipat mo siya sa revenue account. Okay, there's a note here. The amount in the adjusting entry represents the earned portion of the liability. Kasi pwedeng yung unearned revenue ledger mo ay sama-sama, halo-halo siya. Diba? So, ang ilalagay mo lang sa unearned revenue, debit unearned revenue is yung earned portion of the liability. Okay? So, ganun lang siya. Madali lang. Sa una lang siya nakakalito. Pero pag talaga na pag-aralan mo at inintindi, madali lang itong mga adjusting entries na to. Okay? Sige, let us see the next one. Income method. Okay? So, income method naman tayo under unearned revenue ulit. So, an income account is credited upon receipt of cash, representing income even if it is still to be earned. Let's say, diretso mo na sa revenue yan. Kasi pag next week naman, gagawin na natin yan. So, your journal entry upon receipt of cash will be debit cash and credit revenue. Pinasok mo na siya agad sa revenue kahit hindi ka pa nagtatrabaho. Okay? So, what if, at the end of the period, if services are not rendered, your adjusting entry will be debit revenue. Tatanggalin mo yan sa revenue kasi hindi yan totoong revenue. Kasi wala kang ginawa eh. Okay? Anong mangyayari pag hindi mo yan tinanggal? Lalaki ngayon ang revenue mo. Okay? For that particular period. Okay? At hindi ka nagbibigay ng accurate information, right? Okay, so debit revenue and credit unearned revenue. Credit unearned revenue. Ilagay mo siya sa liability account. Okay, so ang note natin dito, the amount in the adjusting entry represents the unearned portion of the revenue. Unearned. Okay, ano yung hindi mo napagtrabahuhan? Okay, so Tutor Carmi, ang ating mga example.
Okay, let's have now our example, unearned revenue. For the unearned revenue, again, tandaan po natin kung ano po yung mga ano natin. So, receive in advance 2-year rent of 120,000. So, nakapag-receive daw po kayo ng 2-year rent, 120,000. So, let's say, of course, we have to put the date. Okay, March 1, kung kailan nangyari ang transaction. And then, of course, wag din natin kalimutan na we are going to do the adjusting entries at the end of the accounting period, which is December 31. So, yan. So, dahil nakatanggap po tayo, we are going to receive cash. That's why we debit cash. And then po, unearned rent income. So, ibig sabihin po kasi nito, wala pa naman po kasing advance payment po ito. So, kung hindi pa siya nakatira doon, so that is considered still unearned po. So, unearned rent income. So, then, we have to record the cash receipt for 2 years. Now, paano na natin gagawin yung for example, December 31 na, So, from here, we are going to, of course, meron tayong unearned rent income of 50,000. Mamaya papakita ko sa inyo yung bakit tayo nagkaroon ng 50,000 po na unearned rent income. We are going to debit that. And then, yung rent income natin will be 50,000. Sige, check natin, ma'am, bakit nagkaganon? Ano nangyari? Paano nagkaroon ng 50,000? So, to record earned rent income, pagkat po kasi liability, ang nire-recognize po natin is the record earned. to record po yung earned rent income po. Kung ano na yung na-earn natin o yung sinasabi natin, kinita na po na. So, tignan muna natin, yung advance collection natin is 120,000. So, ang ginawa po natin, kinonvert ko po yung 2 years into 24 months. So, ang monthly rent collection po ay 5,000. Okay? So, earn period from is from March 1 to December 31. Kaya po ibig sabihin, kasama na po yung March 1. Okay? Kasi nag-start po siya ng March 1 eh. So, this March 1 to December 31, 10 months po yan. Kahit bilangin po natin yan, 10 months yan. So, 5,000, okay? Earned portion po, monthly collection times earned period is 5,000 times 10 months, that will be 50,000. That's why ang amount po na-earn na po ng ating business is 50,000. Yan. So, pagdating naman po, what if we are going to use the income method? So, paano naman? Kanina po ang ginawa po natin is yung tinignan natin yung na-earn na, no, doon sa liability. Ito naman po sa income, yung liability naman. Okay? Yung hindi pa na-earn. Okay? Yun ang ating titignan. So, again po, March 1 po yan. December 31 po ang ating adjusting entries. So, cash, 120,000 dahil na-receive mo yung 120,000. And then, you consider that already as a revenue. So, rent income, 120,000. So, to record cash receipt for 2 years rent, and then rent income natin is 70,000. Mamaya papakita ko sa napakadali na lang po. To minus-minus lang ang peg natin dito mga anak. And then, unearned rent income is 70,000. Okay? To record the rent income not yet earned. Okay? So, paano ba nangyari ito? So, advance collection natin kanina is 120,000. Magkano na yung earned portion natin? Diba? That is 50,000. So, the unearned portion, of course, less the earned portion, 120 minus to 50,000, that is 70,000. So, medyo madali lang naman yun. Kayang-kaya nating minus-minus lang, talagang dapat lang alam lang natin, makita lang natin kung ano, matama yung recognition para hindi po magkaroon ng overstatement or overstated or understated financial statement. Okay, let's have now the accrued revenue, Tutor Carol.
Okay, so accrued revenue na tayo, no? So accrued revenue is the income already earned by the company but not yet collected. Okay, so nagtrabaho ka na, kabaliktaran naman ito nung kaninang unearned revenue. So this time, accrued revenue, nagtrabaho ka na pero hindi mo pa kinukuha ang bayad or hindi mo pa nako-collect. Payment will be received after services are completely rendered. So meron kasing mga trabaho na portion-portion, no? So hindi po muna binabayaran agad-agad ng nagpapagawa or ng client mo. Gusto niya kapag tapos na lahat, 100% complete na yung trabaho, that's the only time na magbabayad sila. So, your adjusting entry to record an accrued revenue will be debit, receivable, and credit revenue. So, receivable, kasi ilista mo muna. Nakalista siya na meron kang for collection. Kaya, syempre, credit revenue yan kasi talagang siya nagtrabaho ka. May pinagtrabahuhan mo naman yun. Okay? So, here we have example. I'll give the adjusting entries on December 31, 2020. Okay? So ABC Company rents out its warehouse to Mr. Cruz for a monthly rent of 30,000. As of December 31, 2020, Mr. Cruz has not yet paid the rent for the month of December. So hindi pa siya nagbabayad, no? So, anong meron? So, syempre, ililista mo yun. Kasi, December 31 usually ang cut-off, di ba? Kapag gagawa na tayo, magpe-prepare tayo ng financial statement. And gusto natin maisama lahat sa financial statement yung ating mga information. Okay? So, our adjusting entry will be December 31. We have debit, rent, receivable. Kasi rent siya. Bakit hindi accounts receivable? Kasi rent. Okay, pwede nyo palit-palitan yan. Basta importante dyan yung receivable na word. Okay? And then 30,000 and then credit. Okay, rent income 30,000 kasi income mo yan from rent. Renting out the warehouse. And then our explanation is to record, okay, rent income earned. Okay? So madali lang,
Okay.
di ba?
So let's talk about medyo mahaba kasi to, mahaba. Madami talagang ina-adjust at the end of. Kaya po maraming trabaho pagka ano po last day of the year. Okay, yan po talaga yung bulk ng work ng mga accountant po natin because of the adjusting entries. So, then we will do the depreciation. Ayan, alam naman po natin depreciation expense. Ito po is the portion of the plant asset cost and charge to expense or written off each year. Ibig sabihin lang po ng depreciation, habang po, yung mga binili nating asset po, there is a possibility po na naluluma sila. No? So, habang tumatagal po, itong mga asset natin to ay nagiging expense. Okay? So, this is an expense allotted to wear and tear of property and equipment or PPE, and po yung plant, property and equipment. So usually there are the asset that is easily depreciated po. Lalo naman na po yung mga planta, yung mga equipment na meron po tayo. Yan po ay talaga na-depreciate. And this is due to the passage of time. Habang ginagamit, syempre naluluma. At yung cost po niyan, we call it depreciation expense. So there are three factors that you need to consider in computing the depreciation expense. Of course, number one, you have to see the cost. Magkano ang pagbili, yung pinili natin yung ating mga asset. And then, of course, yung salvage value. So, kumbaga, ito na yung hanggang kailan ang useful life nitong nitong product na to, or, sorry, hindi pala product, asset na to. Ayan. So, and then, alamin din po natin yung kanyang estimated, this is an allowance. We put an allowance to all the assets that we have in our company, of course, or in our business. So we put an estimated useful life. So paano tayo nagko-compute ng depreciation? Siyempre po, alamin natin, depreciation expense is equals to cost less the salvage value over estimated useful life. Okay? So since po ang depreciation expense is considered now an expense, we always record that in the debit side. And yung contra asset po na nakikita po natin doon sa ating mga chart of accounts, which is the accumulated depreciation, yun po ang ating i-credit. Sige po. Then, kasi nga po binabawas po kasi yun sa value ng asset. Kaya po ayun po yung accumulated depreciation. Then, of course, this will be the example. Okay, for example, number 1. Okay. Acquisition po niya ay 2018. Ang kanyang ito po ay building at ang cost niya ay 20,000. Ang salvage value niya ay 1,500,000. Ang estimated life ng building na binili mo is 20 years. So you just have to follow, of course, the depreciation formula. Okay, the cost less salvage value over estimated useful life. Ganito po magiging itsura niya. So 20,000 less 20 million less 1,500,000 over 20 years. And then, so that will give us 925,000 per year. Ilang taon na ba? Okay, from January 2018 to December 2020, almost 3 years po yun. Kaya po, yung ating 925,000 per year ay i-multiply po natin for 3 years, and that will give us 2,775,000,000 na depreciation expense. So, paano natin siya ano po? Okay, so December 31, depreciation expense, debit 2,275,000. Okay, debit, and then credit po natin sa accumulated depreciation of 2,775,000. Okay, to record, of course, the depreciation expense of the building. Yan. So, bad debts na tayo, Tutor Carol. Konti na lang to.
Yes. Okay, bad debts. Bad debts expense are accounts of customers that cannot be collected anymore or are doubtful of collection. They are losses due to uncollectible accounts. So there are two methods, direct write-off method and allowance method. Ito talaga naman ganito, di ba? Maraming pautang na hindi na nasisingil. Okay.
Yan po.
So,
Alam niyo na kung paano nila ma'am yun, pagka sa mga
Yes.
income nila.
Yes po. So, pag dumating kayo sa ganyang situation, ito ang mga pwede ninyong gawin. So, first, direct write-off method. So, this method recognizes bad debts expense only when it is certain that the company will not be able to collect the account anymore. For reasons such as, namatay, let's say, namatay si owner, and then after that, i-close na lang niya yung business. Or nag-declare ng bankruptcy si business. Or tumakas na si business at hindi mo na siya mahanap. Okay, so pag ganito yung mga situation, hindi naman pwedeng forever na nakalagay sa iyong accounts receivable ang dapat mo ang iyong collectible. So tatanggalin mo na siya. Okay? So ang your adjusting entry will be debit bad debts expense. Okay, kasi expense naman talaga siya. And credit accounts receivable. Okay? Bad debt credit yun na. And then, under allowance method, so this method naman follows the matching principle, which recognizes bad debts or doubtful accounts at the time service is rendered. Ito naman, may mga times na parang based on your experience, history of the company, ay nako, ito talaga, 5% ng ating, let's say 5% ng ating collectibles ay hindi natin nasisingil. Okay, so matching principle. Kapag may service rendered na, automatic, nilalagay mo ang 5% as doubtful. Okay, doubtful account. Okay, so your adjusting entry will be debit doubtful accounts expense. Okay, kung ilan yan? Ilang percentage ba? Based on your experience. Okay? Ilang percent ang hindi nyo na nasisingil. Yun yung ilalagay nyo doon. And then, of course, credit allowance for doubtful accounts. Okay? Ganyan siya. Okay, let's say, ano ba yung doubtful accounts na yan? So, doubtful accounts are uncollectible accounts determined by estimation based on the company's past experience. A certain percentage or ratio is derived between the previous bad accounts of the company and its outstanding receivables. Okay, so yun. Based on ano to, experience. Ilang percent. Okay? Experience mo na yan. So, bahala ka na dyan. And then, allowance for doubtful accounts, so is a contra-asset account, which is deducted from the principal account, accounts receivable. So, allowance for doubtful accounts, contra-asset siya. Yan yung imina-minus natin sa ating accounts receivable. Okay? Example, Tutor Carmi.
Okay, for the example, sa example po tayo, meron tayong 30,000 accounts receivable. Pero kaya nga po we have, parang naisip natin, uy, baka hindi na makuha yung pera. Hindi na tayo makasingil ng 10% of that 30,000 accounts receivable. So we are going to do the direct write-off method. So paano natin gagawin yun? We will do the adjusting entries for that. Of course, sulat ulit natin ang date, December 31. Okay, well, then we are going to debit, of course, bad debts expense, which is 3,000. So yung iniisip natin na pwedeng hindi na natin makuha ay yung 3,000 pesos or your 10% ng 30,000. And then, yung account, of course, credit natin sa accounts receivable because this will be subtracted or deducted to our accounts receivable. That's why we are going to credit that to accounts receivable. Okay, to record, of course, the uncollectible accounts. Yan. Para na maalam ninyo kung paano sa nakuha yung yung 3,000. Yung 30,000, multiply lang natin sa 10%, which is the uncollectible amount. Yun po yung ating 3,000. Now, let's have our check our understanding. Okay. Okay, so number 1. Sagot kayo mga anak ha. This will be the last, okay? So, income received in advance, although services have not been rendered to client, is what?
Okay,
Ayan.
let's see. Okay, so,
Ayan.
sige, let us reveal the answer, Tutor Carmi. Answer
Wait lang.
is?
Of course, unearned income. So, ito ay na-advance mo na, nakuha mo na, pero hindi ka pa nag-render ng services. Sige, number 2. Tignan natin. Expenses incurred in the current period but will be paid in the next accounting period. Yan. Nagamit na yun or nagkaroon na tayo ng expenses pero babayaran pa daw sa next accounting period. So what kind of adjusting entries we are going to do for that. Okay?
Okay, si Vince ay sumagot for number 1. Answer niya is letter D. Number 2. How about number 2?
Yan.
Okay, so we have here accrued
Good
expense.
expense. Okay, payable
Okay.
siya. No? Next po, number 3. Expenses allotted to wear and tear of property, plant, and equipment due to passage of time. So what kind of adjusting entries?
Adjusting.
Yes. Okay, tignan natin ma'am. Mayroon na bang sagot?
Si Vince sumagot number 2. B. Correct.
Thank you, Vince. Okay, number 3 na tayo. Medyo delay talaga, ma'am. Okay,
Yes.
so ano yung ginagawa natin kapag tayo ay nalalaman na natin nag-wear or
Yes.
tear ang ating mga property, plant, and equipment? So that is
Answer. Vince answered letter D.
Okay, very good. So, depreciation expense. Yan. So, this is our references. Ayan. Pag may feedback po kayo mga anak, dating mga tuti, huwag po kayo matakot. Maglagay po ng feedback. Because your feedback really matters to us. Teka lang po. At gusto ko kayo nakita. At dahil, ayan. Ayan, so maraming salamat po muli sa inyong lahat. Tutor Kara, na ito
Thank you
natin.
so much for joining us this week.
Okay, maraming pong salamat. God bless us all. Happy Friday, happy Business Friday. Bye!
Ang husay naman! Natapos mo ang iyong tutorial session kasama ang iyong mahusay na ETUlay tutor. May bago ka bang natutuhan? I-share na yan gamit ang hashtag #ETUlayLevelUp. Huwag aalis ha dahil may susunod pang programa na pwede mo ring panoorin at salihan dahil naghihintay na ang iyong mga tutors. Happy learning dito sa ETUlay!